Morning guys, it is nice and early and I'm about to head out and chase southern bluefin tuna off Sam's boat. It's my first time ever, so obviously I'm heaps keen, but fingers crossed they're still around because I know it's pretty late into the season. But I guess we're about to find out.
Want to get a tuna?
So after about an hour's drive offshore, we finally came across some birds. They weren't diving or anything, but just seeing them was a good sign. So we chucked out a lure to see if anything was around, but nothing was biting. So we decided to jump in and have a look instead. So we did a few dives, but unfortunately there didn't seem to be much going on, apart from a friendly pod of dolphins. We kept on searching, and on this drop, I honestly wasn't expecting to see anything, as this was probably the 5th time I jumped in that day. Despite this, I was still hopeful, so hopped in and was sorting out my float line, when all of a sudden a couple of tuna came zooming by, catching me completely off guard. This was the first time I'd ever seen a tuna and was absolutely mesmerised by them. Everything happened so quickly, and in hindsight, I wish I had just taken the damn shot. But at the time, I knew it wasn't 100%, as I didn't have the chance to fully outstretch my arm and aim, so I didn't want to risk missing it. And I also thought they'd come back around and give me another shot, but they never did. So after that encounter, there were still a few around. They were just hanging out deeper. So I did a dive on them, but they were just moving way too fast. So we hopped back in the boat and jumped back in ahead of the tuna, but they were still moving way too quick for us to even get near them. So it's no surprise, we jumped back in the boat for the billionth time that day and continued the chase, while Daniel was busy chumming up the water. So after a bunch of failed attempts, we finally managed to locate the school again. They were much deeper down this time. So Rory did a dive, but unfortunately his shot came up just short of the tuna.
Oh, Daniel! Drop!
It was then Daniel's turn, so he went down while I watched and waited with anticipation from above. Unfortunately, his shot missed as well. It was then my turn, so I dove down into the blue abyss. At the time, I wasn't too sure if I hit it or not, as I was using a breakaway rig, which meant that the spear wasn't attached to the gun like it normally is, but instead the spear was attached to the float, meaning I couldn't feel if the fish was at the end of the line or not.
I think I hit it. Bruh.
Turned out my shot came up a bit short, and I'd like to say it was because of blue water syndrome. So at that stage, we were getting pretty low on fuel, as we had been too caught up in chasing the tuna to even notice, so we had to call it and start heading back in. Anyway, despite not being able to land any tuna, it was still great to get out and even just see them, and there's no doubt I'm going to be chasing them again this summer, so make sure you stay tuned. But if any of you have any tips or advice on landing them, please let me know.